Hey guys, this is Sarah with Raven's Crochet. Welcome back to the channel. Here's another hat that I made on the loom. I'm almost finished with it. I'm finished enough I can wear it. I just need to close up the top. And then it'll have a better brim. But this is also from Ice Yarns. You see how it works up a cool pattern? Isn't that nifty? This is jacquired wool from Ice Yarns. It is a DK weight yarn. They classify it as a number 3. And it is gorgeous. It is colors of a dark orchard antique rose color. Very gorgeous. And it works up this pattern. And it's the exact same pattern as underneath. This is doubled up because I like them doubled up. I don't have to crochet an even border on it, and it makes it more cushiony and more cozy and keeps me warmer. So I'm going to knit up this little donut that I got from Ice Yarns in my last unbagging. It was from a mixed lot. This was $6.99. I got 6 donuts in here. It's lot number 72426. They do have other lots of these. These are pretty much all the same color, but they have like multiple different colors, not just different colors in the donuts. But all 6 of these donuts that I got are exactly the same because I wanted the same color yarn to make something. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of videos on knitting and loom. So if you are learning, I'm not really here to teach you. I'm just casting on and showing you what this yarn is going to look like worked up. But you do want to start at the black hook. As you just saw me start with the black hook, it'll say number 1. Each little stitch has a number by it. And when you cast on, you just go around every other stitch. You let every other hook catch the yarn. And I accidentally let 2 hooks catch it, so gotta go back and fix that, and then keep going. Taking your time because this is your foundation. Okay, I've messed up. If my yarn is going back out that way around the hook, that's wrong. Your yarn is supposed to be going around the back of that last hook and then towards you so you can feed it through the shuttle. So now I need to go back and see where I made a mistake. And this is a good learning experience too if you're practicing. So I have 3 hooks over here that have too many yarn, that have too much yarn. I missed a stitch back here. So we just go back. We're just going to crank the handle in the opposite direction and gently take out our yarn. Going slow. It's under our hooks and then underneath the back part of these red dividers. Keep going. Okay, well, make sure I don't backtrack too far and undo work I don't need. Okay, so okay, this one here did not catch. Okay, so that one caught. Back of that one. This one catches back of that one. This one catches back of that one. Keep going. You focus your yarn working right behind the shuttle right here. And that's the easiest place to weave your yarn through every other hook. And your very last hook, your yarn goes around and back towards you. Feed it through the shuttle. Now, once your yarn is fed, then I take my timer or my row counter and I reset it. And then I slowly crank the handle in a clockwise motion. Very slowly. This is your foundation, so you need to make sure that all of your needles are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and making sure every single hook catches yarn. If you have resistance where you shouldn't, go slow and stop if you need to, and see where the tension is coming from, because there might be a loop caught somewhere and this is the easiest time you can drop a stitch. And if you keep going, it'll take you like 10 rows to get your work sorted out and looking better. And then you'll have a huge mistake on your first 9 rows. So go slow on your first 2 rows and take your time. This third row here I'm doing, you can go just a little bit faster, but I'm still looking at all my hooks and making sure they all have loops around them. If these are missing loops, this spot here, it's facing towards me more. I can't really show you. This isn't really a tutorial, so I'm sorry I can't really zoom in and show you properly. I don't have the proper setup, but each one of these little notches in between, there's a loop that's being hung right here, and it'll come back where the yarn is feeding, and the hook will spring up and drop that loop and catch another yarn pulling that through. So if you don't have any loops here waiting to be picked up at the feeder, then that you're going to drop a stitch and you're going to have a hole, and all the previous rows that were worked, your stitches will just drop and come right out, and you'll have all these really long loops of yarn just kind of hanging along. And then at your current row where you're currently working, it'll all look fixed and better until you take it off the loom, and then the whole thing will just run up and come undone. But anyways, I can go a little faster now because I've established 5 rows, and I have this clamped onto a small round table. The table I showed you guys in my last video, my grandparents got it for me. This loom is so fun. It is a little loud, and I have done some troubleshooting on it. When I was using a 5-weight yarn, one of my hooks did not go down. As you can see, every time these hooks pass the shuttle, they drop back down. You see that? Inside of here, at the bottom of your screen, inside of here, there is a triangle that these hooks kind of jump over, and then they go back down on the other side of that triangle. So that's nifty. That's why that happens. And so anyways, I was working with a 5-weight bulky yarn trying to make a hat, and one of these hooks did not go down. It just kept going around, stuck up, real obvious. And so when it came back around to the feeder, it was catching more yarn, but it was not going down and doing its knitting thing with the rest of the hooks. So I ended up with like 5 strands stuck around this hook, and then it started jamming, and I didn't know at first what was going on. The damage was already done. So I carefully took all the yarn off, and I assessed the situation, and I found out that stitch number, it was stitch number 17 or 18, something like that. The little bitty peg at the bottom of the hook broke off. I think I showed you guys that in one of my last videos. And you just undo some screws and take off 2 pieces, and then you can replace the needle, no big deal. And then you carefully put everything back together, and then you crank it and watch the stitches go around, make sure everything's working, and everything's fine. And then every time I get to the black hooks, it resists just a smidge and it clicks, but that's what I'm told is normal, and that's just to remind me that I've completed a round. I'm at 19 rows now. I love watching this work up. It works up so fast. I've calculated that I can work up 300 rounds in 1 hour. I sit here and just watch TV. In 1 hour, I can have 300 rows knitted up, but that's way, way long. That's that Puzzle Baby yarn I showed you guys, that neon pastel rainbow yarn. that I worked up on the knitting loom. That ended up being 352 rows. That took me about an hour and 20 minutes. So 100 rows of knitting is 20 minutes. And I think if you were to make a scarf, 200 rows would be perfect. And you could stitch the ends closed, or put a tassel on the ends, or maybe a big giant pom-pom. Something like that would be really cool. For the hats, I like doing 140 rows on the 4-weight yarns. And on the 3-weight yarns, I like doing 125 rows. That's me. The 3-weight yarn to me is a little stretchier and it's a little wider. This is a 4-weight yarn. No, excuse me. Nope, scrap. That's a 3-weight yarn. I just showed you guys this yarn a little bit ago. It's a 3-weight yarn. So, yeah, don't listen to me. Terrible with names. I'm terrible with numbers. I don't know why, but I am. It is what it is, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. So I am at 32 rows now, and you guys can see already in the video how it's got that ombre effect going on. So pretty. I will, of course, also take this off the knitting loom and show you guys the final result. We are getting to the end of the donut. And I'm not going to sit here and work up an entire hat. I could, but my camera is telling me I have only 29 minutes and 48 seconds to do this video, and I'm now at 12 minutes. So I'm probably just going to do a full round without any yarn and just gently pry off the yarn, because I could make a head wrap with this actually. I'm just going to take this off the loom in the most proper manner so I don't lose the stitches, and that way you guys can see me doing that too. I hope you guys can hear me over this cranking. I do apologize if any of my talking you cannot hear me over the cranking handle. I'm really, really sorry. It's my dumbass not thinking about that. Okay, so I have like a long tail left. I'm at 44 rows. And I have a tail at least 14 inches long. So then I take this thing sits here. It's your little darning needle. It's plastic and it has a bent tip. And I've bent it a little bit accidentally, but it's still working. These strands loosen. You see how they're not twisted together? It's 3 different strands twisted together. But just be careful not to let them get separated. So right with the very stitch that this yarn is coming from, I not only go underneath the loop that's on here, I go back one little loop and I catch both. Yeah, I just catch both. I catch 2 loops instead of 1. So that way I know I'm not losing anything. And then you're going to be working around this way and collecting every stitch one at a time. So I'm going to crank the handle, make sure the shuttle's closed so that nothing catches. You're going to rotate the loom the same way as you were still working it. And I collect 2 stitches at a time. And I crank the handle until these hooks go down all the way. And then I can go in there with my darning needle right between these notches. And I can collect the loop right off. I will leave a link in my description box below to the Crochet Crowd. I started watching him years ago when I first started watching YouTube crochet tutorials and stuff. the Crochet Crowd was one of the first videos, one of the first channels I discovered. And I never really subscribed to him until recently. I don't know why, but I've been following him, not extensively, not completely. I bought his book. He does have a book that he and his husband have published. And I will, at some point this next year, I will do a review on that book. As I've pretty much read it all, but I have not worked up any of the patterns. And their patterns are just a little tiny bit more complicated than what I'm usually into. But they all look fairly easy. So I did not cut off a long enough tail. You want at least 20 inches of yarn of a tail when you take your piece off the knitting loom, because I'm discovering 14 inches is not long enough. I barely have any yarn to pull from, so I have to be careful and not lose any of my stitches, because that would be sad. I'm more than halfway done collecting it though, so we're getting there. At this point, I'm collecting like 5 or 6 stitches. By the time you get like 10 stitches off of your loom, there's 46 stitches, by the way. By the time you get 10 stitches off, you have a lot more room to pull a little bit more and gather more stitches at one time. Oops. I missed a tiny little thread there. Shoot. Can I go back and get that? Yeah, okay, we got it. Hang on. Let me get that. I don't care if it's through the loop below it as well. One loop below it is not going to hurt anything and make it, it's not going to make an obvious, it's not going to make an obvious fold or pleat or anything. Because I usually go about 3 rows down to stitch the top of my hat closed, just to make sure it's going to be secure and not come undone. Okay, so then I put my darning needle back in its little holder spot, and I tie a knot at the end so I don't lose my work. Since this yarn is splitting up, I'm just going to pull one strand out of the loop and then pull the other 2 strands back through. And this is just temporary. And I'm just going to make it one little small quick knot. This is just temporary because I'm just showing you guys how this looks off the loom. Because I thought this yarn was so pretty. This is the mixed lot yarn from Ice Yarns. What do you guys think? I think that's super pretty. Really pretty. This lighting is not the best. Let me see if I can adjust my phone some. There we go. Much better. Look at that. That is so gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. I love that effect. That is gorgeous. So I stopped at 44 rows. I would do at least 90 rows. 90 rows gets you a really good decent hat, doubling it up, but you don't have to fold the brim up. It's just big enough to fit snugly over your head, and there's no brim. 90 rows, perfect. If you want a brim, I do 125 rows. On the 4-weight yarns, I do 140 rows, and it's just, I don't know, just I like the way this yarn works up. It is so gorgeous. To me, this looks like Christmas. It's good for a man's project, something more manly. This would even look good worked up with a like ecru or cream colored yarn and making baskets with this. And then I would use like a 7mm or an 8mm crochet hook and make a basket, because that's too thick to work on the knitting loom. But so yeah, that's that. And this could be a hat too. I knit up a piece large enough it could be a hat. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you sticking around and being here. Thank you for being a Yarny friend. Merry Christmas, by the way. I forgot to show you guys in the last video, so I'm going to show you my Christmas tree. I finished decorating it after I got home from my grandparents' house, since I was so motivated on helping them decorate their Christmas tree. So I'm going to unclip you from the camera, so close your eyes if you get visually nauseous. I'll never understand that myself, but, you know, everyone's got their shtick. Everyone has their issues, and I respect that. So, I'm sorry, bear with me. I'll show you guys this little table I have my knitting loom on as well. Yeah. Here's my table. And I think it's perfect. And here's the tree. It's all finished. And I put the icicles on it just so I could have some extra bling and glitter this year. I had a lot of snowflakes. I love these little snowflake ornaments. I have a whole bunch. I had like about a dozen of those I put on the tree. And I had some little jingle bells. And I have a whole bunch of these crosses that I put on my tree. And I have a couple of those that are the Star of David. That one right there. Star of David. And I have another little angel bell. And I found my robot. This represents my friends who are technical geniuses and can help me with software issues and stuff. I gotta have respect for them because I can't do it. I don't have a mind for that. And there's another little snowman that I found. And another little bird that I found, and just a few other things. My Halloween pumpkin. This is one of my favorites. It's got stuffing in it. Oh, I'm always in love with Halloween, and I found this and like, yeah, that's a Christmas ornament. Halloween is going on my tree. I tell you guys, I celebrate Halloween all year round. I don't care. I'm all about scaring people and doing creepy stuff. I'm actually really, really bad about scaring people. So when my colleagues can always scare the crap out of me better than I can. Like, I'd be crouching on the floor putting price tags on the bottom shelf, and there was no one in the store, and my colleague Jerica came over, extremely quiet. She was like a mouse, man. Of course, she's really small, thin as a toothpick. Adorable as hell. She like snuck over to me and was like, "Doing a good job." And I was like, "Huh." Just tell me you're doing a good job. And like, oh my gosh, I wanted to punch her lights out so bad. I'm just saying. So I can't scare people as good. So what I do is I'll just stand there with like a blank stare on my face and just be creepy. And I'll just stare at them. Like if they're inside a room doing some work and there's like a little window in the door so we can see into the room. And I'll just stand there and look through the window and wait for them to see me. And then it'll startle them. It's so funny. So anyways, I'm going to go now and let you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. My best friend should be here any minute. So, yeah, I'm recording this on Friday, but you're not seeing this till Saturday or Sunday? I don't know. So, I love you guys. Merry Christmas, and I hope y'all are having a spectacular weekend. Lots of love. Mwah. Bye-bye.